In America, we do not worship the government. We worship God. This statement alone is enough to understand how much faith and trust Donald Trump places in God. During the Make America Great Again campaign, Trump repeatedly asserted that with God's enlightenment, he would make America shine. Indeed, under Trump's leadership, America has achieved brilliant accomplishments, leaving the American people satisfied. Additionally, he has openly defended Christians, something few dare to do publicly for fear of political controversy. Accompanying Trump is Melania Trump, who stood by him in his previous resounding victory. This time, she continues to support her husband in his run for the White House in 2024. Donald Trump seems to have many advantages on his path to the final race in November 2024. Throughout their journey to conquer the White House, Trump and his wife have continuously expressed their strong faith, and recently, their message is sure to shock everyone. She has faith in God. In the early days when Trump was campaigning, though the faith of Donald Trump has been discussed in depth by people who both love him and hate him, the personal faith of the former First Lady has been much more mysterious. But she is Christian. It was revealed through a moment when she met the Pope in 2017. Melania held out a rosary for the Pope to bless. The pontiff put his hand over hers and made the sign of the cross, something that is viewed as a high honor for a Christian. She later posted to social media that the meeting was an honor she felt humbled by, and that it was a day she will never forget. The next day, Melania's spokeswoman confirmed for the press that the First Lady is indeed a practicing Christian. The Trumps were married in an Episcopal church and ceremony in 2005. Melania carried not a bouquet but a rosary down the aisle. This could be a sign of how deep her faith is to her personally. During her first public speech as the First Lady, she also gave a hint about her faith, opening her remarks with the Lord's Prayer. Because of her faith, Melania and her husband often make public statements, defending their faith and advising people to believe in God and pray with them. I believe in God, American, and you too. Donald Trump and Melania Trump are both highly influential people in every aspect. Not only Americans, but almost every country and every nation are watching them. So when they say they believe in God, it will create a wave of positive response from the community. As I said, the Trump couple has never been shy about expressing their faith. They openly talk about God and often come to lecture and speak at churches or in front of believers. And now, when campaigning, they also regularly remind us of God. Former First Lady Melania Trump received praise for tweeting that the National Day of Prayer was an occasion to cherish the freedom of religion. The First Lady's post included photos of her leading a ceremony honoring the day and a picture of her praying as her husband spoke at the podium. After Melania Trump's ceremony led off, the president thanked her for the great job she had done as First Lady. Appreciation for Melania Trump, who has largely stayed away from political topics. What she showed to the media was simply expressing her faith. No judgment, no direction, no controversy. Also in that speech, Donald Trump said, "As God promises in the Bible, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on the wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint." Quoting Isaiah 40:31 from the Old Testament. A presidential proclamation issued by the White House also noticed, "Our nation acknowledges that religious liberty is a natural right given to us by our Creator, not a courtesy that government extends to us." Like his wife, Trump also often publicly shows his faith. Trump said, "You are living witness of the gospel message of faith, hope, and love." "America is better when people put their faith into action," Trump continued. "As long as I am your president, no one is ever going to stop you from practicing your faith or from preaching what's in your heart. We will always stand up for the right of all Americans to pray to God and to follow His teachings." Trump added that America is beginning a new chapter. "I know Trump has quite a few scandals and controversies, but his and his wife's faith in God is something we should recognize. He helped Christians in general and Israelis in particular a lot." Someone even once said, "I do not believe that any president in our lifetimes has done so much that has benefited the Christian community in such a short time span than Donald Trump." Don't let anyone control you. In a public speech, the former president spoke about religious freedom in America. We love our country, we love our families, we love our freedom, and we love our God, he said. He pointed back to the roots of religious freedom in the United States and held that this freedom is only found in God. Since the signing of the Declaration of Independence 241 years ago, America always affirmed that liberty comes from our Creator. He said, "Our rights are given to us by God, and no earthly force can ever take those rights away." And he talked about how religious and civil liberties have come under attack. For too long, politicians have tried to centralize the authority among the hands of a small few. In our nation's capital, he said, bureaucrats think they can run over your lives, overrule your values, meddle in your faith, and tell you how to live, what to say, and where to pray. He then affirmed the idea that families and churches are the building blocks of a healthy culture. But we know that parents, not bureaucrats, know best how to raise children and create a thriving society, he said. And we know that families and churches, not government officials, know best how to create a strong and loving community. And above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God, he added. At that time, the message resonates with Christians who voted for Trump in hopes that their freedom to practice their religious faith and traditional values would be safeguarded. Throughout his address, the former president's message was clear. He cares about faith and about defending it. Not only has God bestowed on us the gift of freedom, he's also given us the gift of heroes, willing to give their lives to defend that freedom, he said. Right now, even though he is in the early stages of his election campaign, Trump still seems to have inspirational speeches about faith like that. And it seems to have a pretty good effect because many people publicly supported Trump. Support for her husband is the greatest faith. Former First Lady Melania Trump said she backs her husband's third attempt to win the White House, even though she hasn't been seen at one of his campaign events since he officially announced his re-election bid. He has my support, and we look forward to restoring hope for the future and leading America with love and strength, she told media. Former President Donald Trump announced his re-election campaign in November, and his wife appeared by his side. She has not appeared at his events since then. She added, "My husband achieved tremendous success in his first administration, and he can lead us toward greatness and prosperity once again." She said she would use her platform to promote the well-being of children if her husband is elected to a second term. "My focus would continue to be creating a safe and nurturing space for children to learn, grow, and thrive," she said. "If additional problems arise, I will take the time to study them and understand their root causes." The former First Lady showed her plans if her husband successfully sits in the White House. Her humanitarian projects will be implemented, and of course, her messages and projects of faith will also be implemented. What if God chooses Trump to be president? There's a lot of controversy surrounding whether Trump is God's chosen man or not. God does not trouble himself in the affairs of man. He gave us all free will and then called it done. Many evangelical Christians have decided that Donald John Trump is the one who was chosen by God to save the United States from their sinful ways. Someone think God loves us all and just wants us to get along. He probably even loves his child Donald. But then I am reminded that God also loves his fallen angel Satan. That's why he's God, and I'm just little old mainstream Christian me, working to make Trump a one-term president and restore some true human compassion to our struggling nation. Trump believes that God chose him. Trump believes that God is the one who chose him to sit in the White House. As the race to the White House begins with Republican voters gear up to participate in the year's first caucus in Iowa caucuses, former U.S. President Donald Trump posted in video of himself appearing to declare that he is God's chosen representative on earth to restore America's prosperity. The former president shared a fan-made clip that portrays him as a Messiah figure. It begins with grainy footage of an LP playing a record player. A preacher then narrates what appears to be an old sermon saying, "And on June 14, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, 'I need a caretaker.' Thus, God sent us Trump." The video further talks about the former U.S. president being created to fight the Marxists. The voiceover then states that he was sent on the earth to call out the fake news for their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. God said, "I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state." So God made Trump, the voiceover says. "I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle the deep state and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild," it adds. The bizarre video then claims God wanted somebody who had the courage to set foot in North Korea and create more American jobs, secure the southern border and build the U.S. military and fight the system all day. "I need somebody who can shape an axe but wield a sword, who had the courage to set foot in North Korea, who can make money from the tar of the sand, turn liquid to gold, who understands the difference between tariffs and inflation, will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then put in another 72 hours. So God made Trump," it continues. And it is not natural that he thinks so. First, Trump has complete confidence in his potential. He's a billionaire, of course, and he also has a strong position in politics. He is also confident that he will have support from Christians, and he believes that no one other than him can do a good job of balancing America's economic development, while at the same time providing the necessary protection and connectivity for the Christian community. Furthermore, Trump's belief in God makes him firmly believe that he is the chosen one. Donald Trump said in a new interview that there's nothing like God. Trump, who has been divorced and remarried multiple times, has seen his religious bona fides questioned by some evangelicals, who represent a key constituency in the GOP primary race. When received the question, "Who is God to you?" Trump answered, "Well, I say God is the ultimate. You know, you look at this. Here we are on the Pacific Ocean. How did I ever own this? I bought it 15 years ago. I made one of the great deals, they say, ever. I have no more mortgage on it, as I will certify and represent to you, and I was able to buy this and make a great deal. That's what I want to do for the country, make great deals. We have to bring it back. But God is the ultimate. I mean, God created this, and here's the Pacific Ocean right behind us. So nobody, no thing, there's nothing like God. We also need to believe in God. Just like Trump, we should also put our trust in God. Every choice he makes has a reason. And if God wants to choose someone, then whether we like it or not, we should obey and trust in his choice. It could be Trump or someone else. In recent years, there has been an intense debate about whether or not believing in God is a choice. On one side of the argument are those who say that believing in God is a matter of personal choice and that everyone has the freedom to believe or not believe in God as they see fit. On the other side of the argument are those who say that believing in God is not a choice, but rather something that is predetermined by factors such as upbringing, environment, and genetics. So, what does the research say? Is believing in God a choice? The answer, it seems, is both yes and no. While there are some factors that may predispose someone to believe in God, such as being raised in a religious household, there is also evidence to suggest that belief in God is to some extent a choice. For example, a study published in the journal Nature Neuroscience found that people who were raised in religious households were more likely to believe in God when they were adults, even if they no longer practiced the religion of their childhood. But the study also found that people who were not raised in religious households could still choose to believe in God if they wanted to. So it seems that while there are some factors that may make it more likely for someone to believe in God, ultimately, whether or not someone believes in God is a choice. We typically believe in some form of belief, not with our actions. Belief is the basis for all of our actions, whether we muster it, set it in motion, or practice it. Why did Jesus ask his disciples to stop doubting and believing, even if they were proved right? In verse 21 of John, he says, "Greater love for oneself than for one's enemies." It is based on belief and trust in God. Similarly, it is an absolute belief in something that no proof exists for and has no guarantees. Faith has more to do with our emotions, conscious or unconscious, than it does with our mental abilities. Beliefs can be altered based on your preferences. It is this belief that creates a vision of what could be possible, and what could not be. As a result, aspiration ignites the flame of aspiration and propels us toward our goals, a strong will. Belief is a means of developing the will to achieve our goals. This determination to succeed stems from the belief that we can and will accomplish our goals. Obstacles can be overcome if you are resilient. We are resilient to obstacles as long as we believe in them. It is our belief that we can and will overcome any obstacle, regardless of its severity, that gives us the strength to keep going. Beliefs ignite and activate in response to change. It is the belief that propels us forward toward our goals and ignites our passion. Belief motivates us to act. Belief drives us forward. Belief is what propels us forward and allows us to leave. Is faith a belief or a choice? There are a lot of different opinions on whether faith is a belief or a choice. Some people believe that faith is something that you're born with, and you can't choose to have it or not. Others believe that faith is something that you choose to have, and it's not something that you're born with. Personally, I believe that faith is something that you choose to have. I don't think that it's something that you're born with, because if you're born with it, then you can't choose to not have it. Faith is something that you have to choose to have, and it's something that you have to work on every day. It is up to the individual to decide on his or her own beliefs. It is our responsibility to choose our own beliefs. It is our belief that we are living in reality. Beliefs are not only cold mental premises, but they are emotional, conscious, or unconscious premises. The feeling that belief is a choice rather than a truth is similar to that of a choice, but it does not imply that belief and truth are interchangeable. Negative, pessimistic beliefs cannot be believed because they have a negative effect on the environment. Garry Kasparov may think he is no good at chess, and he may feel bad afterward, but this is not proof. There's just one problem. Nobody can just choose to believe in God. Sure, if you've grown up in a religious home, or if you're one of the lucky few to have a powerful religious experience, belief in God might come naturally to you. For the rest of us, you can't just close your eyes and make it happen, or can you? We knew that you probably couldn't change your mind this very second, even if you wanted to. But he thought you can choose to cultivate a religious mindset. If you make the right lifestyle choices over time, faith will naturally follow. The key is to follow in the footsteps of true believers. You could start by attending a place of worship regularly, immersing yourself in the sacred texts and literature of that faith, meditating on the virtues of the founders of the faith, surrounding yourself with true believers, and so on. Soon enough, belief would arrive on its own. I believe it is not a choice, or at least not fully a choice. Some people might be hardwired to be either believers or unbelievers, but nurture plays a big role. If you don't teach religion to a child, that child will simply grow up missing the religious link. Religious belief is a cultural trait you are taught. The younger, the stronger.